Welcome to today's collective reading. This is Trinity Gaia Consciousness. My name is Sally. We're going to open with some sound resonance, setting the intention for this time and this space to be set aside for you. Time to open to any synchronicities that may be coming through for you, whether they are synchronicity repeating or they're the first and there'll be an echo later going, oh, these are connected. But this time, you can take what is here, and if it resonates, it does. If it doesn't, then it may not resonate now, but it may resonate later. Either way, the space is time. It's time to open to the answers you've been seeking. Even if it is to see it from a different angle, without the detail, it is still a new angle, a different perspective. All the answers exist within you. And in time, they will reveal themselves. But they begin by going within. Okay. And with most of my readings, as I'm sure those of you that have been with me a while know, they start from the higher and work their way down into more the nitty-gritty, 3D, everyday experience. So we got higher self, future self, validations. Sometimes they're, hey, watch out for this. It's important, pay attention. So it's heads ups. I know it has been a while since I have posted. I am working on another project as well. And just kind of working that out with all of the change that will come with that. As well as it becoming warmer. So the effects that has on our systems and our routines and how we feel. Just a feel of quite a bit of change and fluctuation and doing, the best that we can to roll with that flow. Okay, so I'm not going to get a card here pretty soon. I'm going to think I don't need one from this deck today for the collective. Oh, there we go. We got two immediately. All it took was a little laugh, little levity. All right. So we have Krishna and Manipura. So this is solar plexus chakra, personal will. You've done that work, that shadow of the divine masculine aspects, the way that you relate to masculine energy, people, within yourself, within others outside of you, is the most positive, loving, balanced, supportive way. You have wanted to seek change in this, to create change in this. And that begins within you. It's kind of, I'm getting the metaphor of you have the camera and you're looking through that lens. And if you want a different filter or you want to remove a filter, kind of like when you're getting your eyes checked at the eye doctor and they're like, well, what about now? How about now? What about now? And you're like, I can't tell a difference. Or, wow, that's really, it's really different. You've been going through and doing those changes within you and observing how you are perceiving the world around you differently, thus experiencing it and moving with your power in that differently because you see things differently, you feel them differently. You've been working through that with what it is to move in healthy, balanced, positive, loving, supportive, masculine energy. And sometimes, yes, probably the biggest challenge would be when you're being faced with a answer to a question and it's not what you thought it was, but the very fact that the answer that comes to you is not designed or there to hurt, to harm, to take. It's presenting you with a truth, an answer that is a perspective that you did not necessarily have. So it is the answer you're seeking simply because it's not like, oh yeah, I already knew that. Oh wow, I'm sorry guys. Well, that was sudden. Woo. Well, you don't want me to say that too dang bad. I'm gonna say it. That's so strange. Because I was not having any issues with that before I hit record. At all. So, what I was saying, and will continue to say, is sometimes that truth that comes to you, like, well, I thought I only had two options. I could do this or do that, and that's black and white thinking. Maybe there's a third or a fourth. Like, there's a whole range between yes, no, black, white, positive, negative. There's a whole range in there where it mixes and it matches and it's a slightly different balance. It's like alchemy. You have to find that right one for you in that particular situation. And if you find yourself like, I don't know what to do, I have to go within, I have to change this because I want it to change. How do I do that? Okay, so there you are. Passing judgment on this and on that and on this aspect and this aspect, but there are so many options. It's bringing to mind a quote from the Robin Hood movie with Kevin Costner in it, when the little girl asked the Moor, why did God paint you? And he said, because Allah loves variety. It's just so innocent, just exactly what a little kid would ask someone, right? They don't realize how many different ways that could be taken, and because they're like 4, they don't know that. It's just, there's the innocence in asking the question. And the collective here, you guys have sought to create this change. And in that, sometimes the answer that came to you was not necessarily something that you thought of or wanted to hear, but in that answer, be it a person that comes into your world and you're able to ask them this question and their answer kind of takes you aback. You're like, I never thought of it that way. Yeah. That's why they were there in that moment and why you were inspired to ask the question. And the result was a completely different perspective that you can now look at your world and the way you relate to healthy, masculine, healthy, assertive energy in your world. Sometimes telling you what you don't want to hear, even though it's the truth, is such a loving thing to do. And when someone does that and they do that knowingly, knowing that it's not what you want to hear, the way they tell you speaks volumes about whether or not they are a positive male figure, a positive masculine energy in your world. Especially when they take the time then to help you process why this is the answer they're giving you, why this truth is the way it is from your own perspective as that healthy masculine individual, that healthy male. That contrast, it teaches us so much about ourselves. So much. Every conversation we have with other people, we're learning about ourselves just as much as we're learning about them. We are having a conversation with ourselves. Basic everyday interactions. This is really grounding it immediately right into the physical. You can tell someone is a little bit more in an emotional state when, you're exchanging like the superficial, the basic social norm etiquette of, hi, how are you today? How did you sleep last night? And you can feel that something is weighing on them. Sometimes they'll share it, sometimes they won't. Sometimes you want to know, sometimes you don't. But there's so much more going on behind the surface. There is so much there, guys. Like, there's so many messages that could come through. I could probably spend hours on that. Like, the feel of so many personal readings that are wanting to come through for you guys, but this is collective. So this is an overarching theme that the healthy, balanced, positive, loving, nurturing, considerate, the desire to help you understand a different perspective, to better understand yourself, not for you to replace your perspective with that perspective, but to help you understand yourself on another level, from another perspective. That is the overarching message here from the higher self, the divine, your team, your spirit team. Okay, it's interesting. I didn't think I would grab this deck, but I did, so let's go with it. Typically grab this one later in the reading. But I did ask for the readings to be a little more, specific message, instead of like a long drawn out 1 hour with like 3, messages jammed into one. So I'm going to go with the flow. All right. Let's see, what do we want to highlight here? We have 2 of Cups in the upright. The palmistry is the lines that represent career, failure, and setbacks. But in the traditional tarot, it is like an offering of heart space, 2 full cups. It's wedding, it's union, it's marriage, it's alignment. And then we have 5 of Cups, which is letting go of one dream to move towards another, not using that past dream as a means to, kind of like an escape, a opt out, I don't have to move forward because I'm still working on this. Well, as long as you keep choosing to still working on that, then you're not moving forward, you're not growing, you're choosing to be stagnant. So with it in the upright, this is something to consider within yourself, yes, but it's also something that you're possibly observing outside of yourself. And I get the feeling there's a sense of change in this. Otherwise, it would be in the inverted here. And we have the Queen of Pentacles inverted. So this is specific to you. How abundant do you feel within yourself? Do you feel that you need an energy outside of you to let go of a past dream that just did not work in order to move forward? Or do you feel like you're good and whenever they do this, but you're good? Like, you don't need this outside energy to feel abundant. You feel abundant within yourself. Also, you may know that this is happening in a spiritual sense, extrasensory, I know that this is happening, I can feel it shifting. It could be dreams, it could be intuitive knowings, conversations going on around you, shifts in relationships you observe in the people that you communicate with, see on a regular basis. So it's like you can see the weather pattern changing. Do you need it validated in the physical in order to feel abundant within yourself, in order to know that within yourself? And then with that answer, are you actually seeing this being something that's being considered outside of you? Yep, I was like kind of quietly asking the question inside, like, is this in relation to someone that my collective is really focusing on outside of them? Is this like a left, right, are we going to do this? Are we not going to do this? Is this going to be? Is it not going to be? There's many different paths, choices. It's the co-creation. So in a lover dynamic, because that's what's coming out here with the card being labeled the love line, but it is a 10 of Swords. It is. So it's an ending and a new beginning. These two are mirroring each other pretty closely right now. There's a feeling of a decision being made in how to proceed forward with co-creation. This is going to be something you're doing within yourself, all on your own, as well as it being, something that involves another individual with the Two of Cups and the 10 of Swords here. Okay. So willing that masculine, that healthy masculine energy, changing how you understand it to be with intention. You are and have been doing the alchemy to learn what it is to be in healthy masculine energy. You don't want someone who is just going to tell you what you want to hear. You want that other perspective. You need that other perspective. You want them to challenge you, but you don't want them to dominate, control, gaslight, manipulate, think that if they behave in an egocentric or narcissistic manner that they're going to get rewarded. You have sought to change this. Getting a rather personal image of the desire to feel completely at peace, safe, and calm in a masculine presence. That it's not a threat or someone or something that you have to figure out or handle or cope with, but that it's like a little bubble where the world stops because you're in that space. It just anchors you fully in the now. You're not so overwhelmed by everything because you find yourself in a similar state as if you were in nature or you were looking out your window in the morning and there just happens to be a hummingbird that is, doing its thing. And for that couple of seconds, however long it may be, they're fast little guys, you're in wonder of the moment, of getting to witness something like that, getting to be present. It's similar to that, but on a longer scale, more in-depth scale, more intimate scale. There we go, more intimate. All right, so what do we need to know about this exactly? We get that this is pretty much the dynamic that's presented here for this collective. What does the collective need to know? What do you guys need to know going forward? You know that you are here. You know these are the dynamics. I definitely get the feel that quite a bit of you are like, yeah, that's the situation. That is what I would like. This is what I've been working on. Okay. So this is all validating in quite a few ways that this is your situation. So what do they need to know? What do you guys need to know? What don't you guys know that this reading can kind of help you with here? So we have the Four of Cups on the side. So it's undecided. This could be a deciding factor in the creation, the partnership. 2 cups, 2 cups. Okay, so you are whole. You are balanced in your masculine and your feminine, both sides. Okay. Yeah, definitely like decisions, that this is something that you are working on. Okay. It's collaboration. It's learning how to communicate with one another. Yep. Being receptive to the emotional intelligence of both perspectives will be a great help in this process, especially when it kind of anchors in more into your physical experience. And this is desired. If you're questioning whether or not this is for those in this dynamic that identify as predominantly more in the feminine archetype, more of the receptive, intuitive, this is something that you've manifested, you have desired, you have created, you have willed. But you are also, like, what you are manifesting is manifesting you. This is not something that happens because it's one-sided. In other words. And then we have Saturn line, and it's also inverted the Nine of Swords. Okay, so it's highlighting the liver and stagnation and being an introvert, having a more introverted lifestyle, very hermit. Maybe it's time to change that up a little bit, coming out of that hermit mode and including this other energy more predominantly, co-creating that. You can be an introvert that at times is extroverted, but you do recharge in private. So there may be more extroverted environments that you're going to be interacting with moving forward. There's so much introverted. Perfect sense, because, I mean, I was asking, what do you guys need to know that you don't right now? Okay, this is very clear. Okay, so going forward with this energy that is, I mean, you've balanced it within you. So 2 cups, both sides. You guys are ready to do this, and it's anchoring more and more into your physical. And you may be more of hermit. They may be as well, but for the two of you to come together, and yet again, this may be an individual you've never met. You may be yet to meet this person. You may know who they are. You may be, with this 5 of Cups, meeting them again. This may be, second chance kind of deal. For this to be something, you know that you both are going to have to move out of your hermit state, to be at least extroverted with one another. The people in their world, the people in your world, you're going to get to meet new people. You're going to be in social situations, getting to know their world. And I know I did this demonstration at one point earlier, but I can do it again, just because it makes visualization, it just makes so much sense here. Let me get this bigger crystal here. I'll do this one too. So this one, it typically represents new beginnings, and this is like the balance of yin yang. So, 2 people, okay? And you all have like your little satellites, and the little people that are kind of, around you. Maybe you have kids, maybe you have a job, maybe you have some projects you're working on, maybe a job, a house, a car, something that, you're juggling. Well, these 2 worlds are having to come together, and all of these are having to find their way of interacting with the 2 of you together. As, you were just yourselves, you were able to be more introverted, isolated, just working on this, but now it's working on it together, and you're going to be showing one another those different perspectives around every one of these satellites. And that may be uncomfortable, especially if you guys are very strong-willed, independent individuals and you have your opinions. You are going to inform them of your perspective, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. That respect for one another is a loving statement in how it is said, because you can make it sound really negative. But in this instance, because you are both balanced, It will be a loving thing. And this is where the Nine of Cups, paired with this Nine of Swords in the inverted, that compassion, that empathy, that awareness of where their hurts are. Just like with a rose, there's thorns. In natural roses, they have thorns. There are places that hurt to touch. And as you get to know one another, even more moving into this state, you're going to know, like, hey, maybe I should not word it that way. Because I know if I word it this way, it will touch that particular hurt space, that thorn, and there'll be no progress made, and we'll both just end up hurt. So their hurts, their thorns, you have your own, and you want them to be considerate of those hurts, those thorns, and you don't want them to just mess around with them and get hurt by them, because that hurts you to hurt them. It's that whole, like, I want you to be happy, so when you're happy, I get to be happy, but if I'm miserable and you're happy, this isn't working. That's not the same. This is, you both want one another happy. And sometimes that is giving one another truths that they don't necessarily want to hear. It's all about the delivery. Knowing that it hurts, knowing that you're giving them that truth in the most compassionate way you can to empower them. There may be moments like that, and those moments will be growth moments. How the two of you choose to handle those moments will strengthen you if you both follow this concept. If there is a lack of consideration for that thorn, for that hurt place, and it's like the conversations that I have observed, and we've all seen the shorts on it, where it's like bringing up something that happened 2 years ago in today's moment is not fair, and it's not. It's not. So that is a lack of consideration for that hurt, that wound, that ouch, like, oh, well, your last relationship or your ex or this happened so many years ago. No. This is about here. It's about now. Being considerate of those will only strengthen you guys. If there's not that consideration of that hurt, then this will become something that needs to go back here. And that happens when you see, or you begin to see the other person as someone who will do the things that have happened on repeat, that you've witnessed happening. This person, because you have both balanced your relationship with what it means within you to be in a loving, supportive, masculine, assertive energy. That masculine energy isn't by default intimidating or scary or, like you need to defend. Like you're not there. You've transmuted it. It now inspires a sense of security, safety, being supported, being valued. Knowing that this individual, this person will tell you what they actually think, that they're not going to waste energy on mind games. They're not going to waste their emotional investment. Because who has energy for that, right? That's when you two move back through here, is when you know that they are not wanting to hurt, mess with your mind, or play with your emotions. But as long as you guys are here, that is something that is still healing within self. So I think for some of you, this is insight into what's been going on for you, what's been going on for them. And yet again, you maybe haven't met them yet, but there is someone who is manifesting you just as much as you're manifesting them. And this is what you guys have been doing. The beautiful thing about this reading is it's telling you that this is something that is going to happen. But not saying that it's taking away your free will. You still can choose a path between yes and no that is somewhere in here. You still have free will to choose how this is going to play out. And it's how much you're able to be able to have that discernment, the awareness of the hurt, and the compassion and empathy for them, to move forward with them, knowing that you're in the now with them. You're not in their past relationships, bringing that up. You're not in what they said 2 years ago to you that, was from a more unhealed state. You're in the now with them. That compassion and that empathy will only serve you both going forward. And you may need to have this conversation, lay it out, say, hey, I'm not expecting you to do anything with this now. It's put a pin in it. You know it. It's there. Maybe you'll use it later. Maybe you won't. But here you are. I felt that this was something that needed to be said between the both of us, so we were on the same page. That may be a conversation that happens so they understand why you're moving as you are. They're not going to be then going, well, what the hell is she doing? Or what the heck is he thinking? They're going to know because you told them the why. In many ways, I think a lot of us, I know me, oh, I just hit the mic there. I need to know why. I need to understand. I want to understand. Because this kind of a connection, you want someone to witness your life with you. And that's what they want too. And that requires you to know one another, to give each other the whys. That might be the title of the reading, Giving Each Other the Whys. Okay? And I believe that that's where I'm being led to bring it to a close here. So thank you guys very much for being present here and taking this time out for you. And I really hope that you found something of value that validates something you already knew, adds momentum to something that you were starting to get some confidence in, and gives you hope for the future, because you really do have a choice in how you move. With what these two cards, their message coming through, like, you really do have a lot of power to be able to move in a fashion that strengthens this for you and for them. It begins within you. And this person, they know that. They've done that work too. All right. The divine and the love within me sees and honors the divine and the love within you. Namaste.